hosted 3 paranormal shows: Torching Hot Topics with Torch Paranormal, DNS Live with DNS Paranormal Crew, and NPS Hope, all hosted on the Poet Encounters Network. The study of the paranormal is called parapsychology. During the show, we will cover ghosts and hauntings, haunted locations, aliens and UAPs, also known as UFOs and ufology, cryptozoology, demonology, ancient mysteries, and the occult. Within these areas, we focus on photography, science, health and safety, technology, and investigation research, along with team resources. Since this is a featured show on the Meet Me app, I will not be able to acknowledge your comments in real time or thank you individually for your gifts. But I will take a moment at the end of the show to say thank you and to give some shout outs. If you have questions or comments for me, please stay after the show. Please also remember to keep the comments respectful in the chat and towards myself and my guests. Those who cannot contain themselves will be escorted out of the stream. Now, if y'all are ready, let's go into the unknown. Hello, y'all. Happy Sunday night. Kraken here, your resident ghost magnet, seasoned investigator, and Sunday night guide into the shadows that never quite stay silent. Tonight's going to be a little different. Tonight is big. We've been teasing it. We've been hyping it. This is the Paranormal Investigators Roundtable, the main event you've been waiting for a couple of weeks now. No trivia tonight, no big solo segments, just raw stories, real theories, and unfiltered takes from 4 boots on the ground investigators who know exactly what it's like to step into the dark and come out changed. Joining me tonight is Cult of Cosmo, Flirty Danny, Rocker Rebel, and Mikey, each one with a mind full of hauntings, theories that bend the rules, and field stories that'll have you double checking your salt line before you go to bed. So settle in, hit that favorite here if you're new, and remember you're watching Into the Unknown, my featured show every Sunday at 11 p.m. Eastern right here on the Meet Me app. And next month is 2 years of this spooky ride. So definitely going to be doing something for the anniversary. So guest, if you haven't already, please hit that request box. Come on up and let's crack the lid off the crypt tonight. Let's see what the shadows have for us tonight when there's nowhere left to hide. So let's get everybody in here. Give me just a minute. I got one. Some of you guys know how to pay attention. What's up, Cosmo?
How's it going?
Good. Been forever since I've seen you.
Oh, it's been a long time.
There is Roger. All right, let's get Danny in here. You guys, while everybody is popping in the box, make sure you're hitting them with a fave. They've been in the chat. They've been on the show before. Let me change my camera up here so everything looks all professional and good. All right, we got everybody here. So let's go real quick, you guys. Let's start with Cosmo in the brain. Let's start with Cosmo, then go down to Rocker, then Danny, and then Mikey. You guys quickly introduce yourselves, kind of give us some background, how long you've been on the app and how long you've been playing in the paranormal and dabbling.
Absolutely. So as Danny, I've been on this app since day one, off and on. I'm Cosmo. When I do go live, I usually play games and things of that nature. I have done some paranormal investigations live with my audience, and that was super fun. I went to the Missouri State Penitentiary. And I've been studying paranormal and different sort of things that have to do with spirituality for most of my adult life now. Been a paranormal investigator for, I'd say, the last 10 or so years, maybe a little bit longer than that.
Nice.
And it's been fun.
I know, we've had some great chats, you guys. We have some fun stuff when these guys are in the chat. All right, Rocker, welcome back.
I'm Rocker Rebel, also known as AJ. Been on the app off and on since 2020. Been involved in the paranormal field pretty much since 18 is when I actually started doing research in it and diving more into getting to know more. And been ghost hunting for the last, I'd say, 7 years off and on, and gone on several ghost hunts between that time with different groups and different friends, and plan on doing more here very soon.
Nice. All right, Danny, welcome back.
Hi, I'm Florty Danny. I've been on heel since day one, like Cosmo is trying to give everyone my real age. Okay. I've been a part of the paranormal since I was like 5. And I've been doing paranormal investigations since I was 10 to 12. I'm male. And I lived in an asylum for 2 years of my adult life, and I lived in other various haunted locations on and off for about 5 years total.
Nice. Mikey, let's round it off with you. Welcome back.
Hello, I'm Mikey. I've been a paranormal investigator for 15 years. I've been on the app for about 10 years and just trying to get help with my problems over here as well.
Not everybody needing help. So you guys, we do have some cross audio coming in. I've heard some of it coming in already. So I just like to talk through it. So if you hear, keep talking through it. We're still recording. So, all right.
That screen was me. That was my bad. I have a soundboard.
It was perfect timing. I noticed when I was doing the show opening, I started hearing some crossover. So I was kind of hoping maybe one night we wouldn't have it, but yeah, whatever. Maybe the community, maybe the app will get it together and we'll get it fixed. So, all right, let's start off with our first question. So, what is the scariest place you've investigated that you would never go back to, and why? And I'll answer it while you guys are thinking. I'll answer for me and then we'll go. So mine would be the Crazy Water Hotel in Mineral Wells, Texas, because when I was there, we were there with another team. We had a canine investigator, and so I was walking around, following the dog and all that stuff. Ended up in a room and had a growl in my ear. And after that, I was like, you know what? It's a hard no for me. I'm done. I am done in here. It was my first time in there. I'm waiting for the Baker Hotel to open. I'll go across the street where it might be a little nicer, but I ain't dealing with growls in my ear. So for me, it would be the Crazy Water Hotel in Mineral Wells, Texas.
I don't think that I have ever went to a place that just gave me. So I'll tell you, I lived in a place that I'll choose not to live again. But as far as investigations go, and it's weird because this place I lived in, it was very innocuous, very mundane. I did not feel anything until I was on my way out. But I'll take that back because I never felt comfortable there. I never felt, like I always felt, it's very hard to scare me. And I felt like uneasy all the time there. As I was moving out, my friend Danny was helping me move, and I was moving something or getting something together to move, and I hear this, just like that. And I turned around physically and said, what? Well, he's outside, and I was inside. You know what I mean? I was like, see there? I knew it. I go back a little bit later to check on my brother's cat, who was going to pick up later on, and I hear the cat. I hear it. Don't see it at all. And found out later on that he had already picked up the cat. So,
oh, wow.
Yes, wow. I will never live there again.
Right, that's different.
Yeah.
All right, Rocker?
Okay. For me, I would have to say there's a cemetery that's kind of like it's a township cemetery. About 35 minutes away from me. It's called Ashton Cemetery and Township, and a church that actually sat in the front of the graveyard. That's probably one of the top ones that I would not actually chance going back to again. I've been there only 2 times, and on the second time of actually going to investigate with a group of ex-friends, I had a scratch that appeared actually on my left ankle that actually broke skin and actually started bleeding when I was walking through the cemetery. Yeah. And then it felt almost like a scrape of a knife or rusty metal to the back of the left shoulder while going through there, being pulled, being tugged. Like whatever's actually in this place just does not like visitors. It's its domain. It makes it well known that no trespasser should be in this area at all. So, yeah, it's a very risky area. I would even actually tell people if they're driving by, like, yeah, if you want to drive by and take pictures, do that. Just don't stop.
Just don't stay. Just don't stay. Wow. All right, Davey?
Yeah.
So I would probably have to say the Lowell Sanitarium is one of two, and the Cashtown Inn in Gettysburg. Lowell Sanitarium, it wasn't because we got anything spooky or nothing. It was a sane asylum that was honestly built, I say it was built for small people. Everything's very narrow. I was on top of everyone that night. We really didn't get much that night, but it just felt like even the corridors were so narrow. It was very hard to move around.
Just feel a little claustrophobic.
It felt like there was always someone breathing down my neck the whole time we were there, and I couldn't, and it was so dark. I couldn't tell who I was talking to, if there was anyone actually there or present with us or not. A lot of the readings were going off. Our flashlights were the only problems we had. We couldn't keep the batteries in there long enough. So just a really bad, just all around bad experience. And that was right after I graduated college too. We did that investigation, and I was with amateurs the whole time. Everyone who just started out and they were looking at me for advice. So everyone there was still brand new to it.
Oh, wow. That is crazy. All right, Mikey, what would be yours?
For me, probably a cemetery here in Alton, Illinois called Lovejoy Cemetery. Got followed by this great big ball of light. And probably Mineral Springs Hotel.
Crazy stuff going on there too.
Yep. All crazy over there.
Nuts. And that cemetery you talked about is where you've picked up the visitor that we've been dealing with the last couple of months. Yep, that's what I've heard.
That's
all right,
let's take home.
Yep. Well, and still dealing with it too, it sounds like.
Yep.
Man. All right, let's take a quick pause real quick while we pass the salt and swap ghost stories. You are watching Into the Unknown here live every Sunday at 11 p.m. Eastern. If you're new, smash that favorite, drop some love for all of my guests in the box, Colta Cosmo, Flirty Danny, Rocker Rebel, and Mikey, and keep those questions coming in the chat. We're going through some questions that were submitted, so we're going through those, but we're also watching the chat. All right, so my second question for you guys is, what is one piece of equipment you never leave behind when you go investigate? And what is one that you think is total garbage? And y'all probably already know my answer to this one. So mine, I'd never leave without my Connect tablet, which I've still got to get that damn tablet fixed. It's a total game changer for me. And for me, what is garbage is 90% of those phone apps that everybody tries to use and convince me that it's something good. So, Cosmo, what's yours?
Yeah, absolutely. Mine, I'm simple. My voice recorder, and the only time I'll use my phone to investigate is to record voices, or take pictures. But voice recorder, and I'm right with you on that. Those phone apps, it's just, I understand that there is a lot of technology in phones. They should be capable, at least we think they'd be capable of picking up electromagnetic, everything. But it's just not tuned to it yet. It's like having what do they call them things? Israel, you know what I'm talking about, the multi-tools, you know what I mean? Like the switchblade.
Yes.
Like you the thing you take camping.
That's completely focused.
Exactly. And then that's, I hope we get into this conversation later on, but speaking about focus, and that's a big part of why we do things with specific equipment and not the switchblade of pieces of equipment. The phone, to me, garbage. Except for
if you want to use it for recording, right? Or for pictures, or for like setting a timer, then that's okay. But you guys, not these phone apps. Like we talked about it on the show. I'll have to go back and tell you guys which episode it was, but No. Spend the money on something that is focused for what you're looking to do.
And I've done my due diligence. I have Necro something on my phone right now.
Necrofund.
Due diligence,
Yeah,
Necrofund.
Yeah,
And
that's a good one.
nothing, absolutely nothing. So yeah, garbage.
Yeah, your phone's for your phone. I mean, it is what it is. All right, Rocker, what's your favorite? What do you think is garbage?
Okay, so for me, top tool that I'll actually bring with me and never forget is the SP7 Spirit Box. That is
Okay.
100% the top one I'll use during any investigation. On top of that, extra batteries. Definitely bring extra batteries to any of those that they'll love to drain batteries and battery packs. But one that I would never actually use again, which an ex-friend actually swore up and down this one actually worked and it was great. It's called Ghost Box Tool or something like that. It was on the phone. It was a free app, and it had like a handprint and black blue background or whatever, and it was supposed to act kind of like an Ovilus.
Interesting.
But there were so many ads to it. Interrupted during the time. It would always just spit out just random words. Like it was more just something for an entertainment side of things, trying to freak people out. It was never something that actually worked.
It's good for like parties, right? It's good for parties if you want to
Right.
freak somebody out. But
Like if you're sitting around like a campfire or something, and you're telling ghost stories, and you want to creep the other people out around it. Sure.
yeah, if you're trying to be the one that's eating all the s'mores around the campfire and trying to freak people out to leave, yeah, that's
Right.
what I would do for sure. All right, Danny, what's your favorite? What do you think is garbage?
We're going to start with what I think is garbage because me and Kraken I've had long tangents with her about these is those phone apps. I've had friends all over the site. As soon as they find out I'm in the paranormal, they're trying to get in my box and they're trying to use some app and that acts like a spirit box or something, and they're trying to like communicate with the dead, and I'm over here looking at them like, no. And then I have had like a 2-hour tangent Kraken had to deal with me just cussing and everything every which way about these apps. And my favorite one is the mini handheld thermo camera. I love using that mainly because one, I can use it for I can see who's not there and who is there. And me, I walk into a lot of dark hallways at any location that's haunted I walk at. So even if someone is actually there that's not supposed to be there, I have it on camera too. Like, you're not supposed to be here. Click.
That's hilarious. I didn't think about that. By the way, you guys can thank Danny for me doing that whole spiel on phone apps on my show because that's where the idea came from. So thank you for that debate.
Thank you for dealing with me for about 2 hours that day.
They all say like for entertainment purposes only. So
Yeah, there's a reason why it says that. All right, Mike, what is your favorite tool and which one do you think is garbage?
No phone apps. I don't like them.
We're all in agreement. I love it.
Yep, and my favorite is the SP7 Spirit Box and a voice recorder and a camera, night vision camera.
Basics.
Pretty much just bring yourself. That's all you really need. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
So I think if the 5 of us all went and investigated someplace, we'd have the SP7s, we'd have the Connect, we'd have the voice recorder, we'd be set. We wouldn't even have to bring
thermal.
right? We'd have the thermal with Danny.
yes.
I break all my thermos. So right now
I'm not handing you mine then.
we have another one from Amazon coming in. So
I am dead.
I had at one point I had a FLIR attachable to my older iPhone, and it worked really well. You know what I mean? So I had one of those. You just attach it to your phone and you just take it like you're taking pictures. It was good. I liked it.
Nice.
I don't know where
I've got just the little handheld ones. It's the size of my phone, but I got it off of Amazon. And I love it because it's so small. Like you can carry it.
Oh, that's
With
Yeah,
the-
not like that, but mine's not landscape, it's portrait. It's very cool. Okay, so let's move on to our next question. Have you ever if you guys have watched these guys on my show, y'all probably already know the answer to this, but have you ever brought something home with you, a spirit, an attachment, or just the creeps, and how did you deal with it? Cosmo?
So I can honestly say I don't think I've ever, and this is, listen, everybody, before you do any investigation, do your research. Do your research about the place, do your research about how to cleanse yourself and how to prevent attachments and, oppression from affecting you. I've never had that happen while investigating.
Thank you.
I've had like the heebie-jeebies. I've even had some intense dreams afterward, but nothing that was like, you know what I mean? But when I went to the manor in Atchison, what's the name of that place? Not the Sally House, but it's a manor in Atchison. And the one we were talking about with the picture I took the pictures at.
Yeah.
After I did that, I had some intense dreams the following night. Actually, it was crazy. Yeah, it was the following night because we spent the night there. While I was there, it was funny. I didn't really have any dreams that were like intense, but I didn't get much sleep either. You know what I mean? We were there, and I spent the night in a very Victorian-looking bedroom that was so neat, so cool. But I just slept in a chair, and I had equipment going all night. And so I never really experienced anything like just follow me where it just affected my life. But now, the me now knows how to, if that does happen, how to make sure that I can protect myself. And that's the key. That is the key.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Rocker?
I actually, a few different places I've had things follow me back. The one I talked to when I was on the show back in May even was Enderberg Manor, where I had that pot thrown at my head in the basement. And then it was actually a mimic that was one that followed me a few times back from that one. And I had to just be very assertive to tell the thing, you're not allowed to be here. You're not having the right to be in the room. Attach yourself to any of the devices, items I have, personal items. Like, you just need to get out. You need to go back to where you came from. Stay there. If I come back to investigate, yes, I will talk to the spirits again, but that's your domain. This is mine. Have a separate space. Get out. So,
Then you got to reverse it on them, right?
Right.
And it's all about the intent as well. I think that's the biggest piece about it, is having that intent behind it all.
Yeah,
and I always I cleanse myself before going into the area and while actually ending the investigation and coming back out, because you have so many of that activities throughout that day and night that you just don't know which one's going to try to just jump on and hitchhike back to wherever you're going next and want to follow you. So
well, that's exactly right. All right, Danny.
Yes, I've had something come home with me from Eastern State Penitentiary. I do set work with them for Halloween. So there was a lot of death in that place in a very short period of time. And we're not poking fun at it per se, but we are bringing back a lot of the death and a lot of the torture that does happen, that actually did happen from pictures that we have in our records. So it is very prone around the Halloween time for waking the spirits, especially doing new construction in November, December. Every time they do new construction, there's always new things that will pop off over there. And honestly, what we did was there was a medium who has investigated that place before. I went to them. They came and met me actually at the penitentiary, and we just did a ritual. Typical, just a cleansing ritual and a detachment thing that she had. And the next night, there really wasn't anything that happened when I went home. But honestly, I will sometimes cleanse before I go in. I don't always cleanse myself. Mainly because I want them to be attracted to me. because I already have a target on my head that basically says, I see you. So I'm trying to get them to come to me, but I don't want them to attach to me. But sometimes it's just a part of my job as what I do with being a clairvoyant. It just happens, but I do cleanse myself afterwards. And I do so Amy, my friend Amy, who's another medium, she sent me a whole bunch of meditations to do
Nice.
afterwards. And some of the meditations has to do with dragon's blood, frankincense, and literally just do everything in circles. She sets 2 ups on one side, 2 ups on the other.
Very nice. Very nice. So it sounds like, a lot of us are into that cleansing before and after, which is a good habit. All right, Mikey, how about you?
I made the mistake of not cleansing myself one night going to the cemetery, and I brought home a shadow man that's been tormenting the heck out of me for a long time, and just recently came back. I've been trying to do everything. I don't know what to do. It just keeps coming back and back and won't stay away.
We're going to have to come up with something strong for sure for that one.
Yep.
All right, well, we're halfway. He was gone for what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so we are halfway through, you guys, and we're only on 3 questions. So I'm going to go pick some other good questions for the rest of the show because we got, a little bit more time here. All right, so let's do our midway show break. This is Into the Unknown, your featured show on Sunday nights at 11 p.m. about the paranormal, where we talk about everything that there is to know under the sun about the paranormal. So big shout out to you guys for being here with me tonight and hanging out. You guys make sure you're favoriting everybody in the box. Favorite me, hit a fave with everybody in the box, because look, we talk about it during the show, but we'll talk about it in our regular streams too. So just make sure you're hitting everybody with a fave. All right, let's go. We've already talked a little bit about protection, rituals, practices that we do before an investigation. Let's talk about, let's go into dreamland a little bit. If you could investigate any location in the world, no limits, where would you go and what question would you want answered? So, and it looks like Mikey's popped out. We'll see if he comes back in here in a minute. For me, you guys know Poveglia Island, that is number 1 on my bucket list to go to. And then after that, I would think stateside Waverly Hills again, which I'm planning on going next year. I've already extended the invite to you guys, so let's go. Gettysburg, I got to go see Danny. And I want to go to Sloss Furnace. I've heard a lot about Sloss Furnace. And I think I just kind of want to know, do some places act as portals? Do they collect spirits? Do they just come and go? I think that would be my question for all those locations, since they're all known. So, all right, Cosmo, what would be yours? And I'm looking to see if Mikey's coming back in the box. I know he was having some issues.
Yeah, he said he was having issues. Mine, and I have kind of I'll be brief, but Gettysburg for sure. I've always wanted to go visit Gettysburg for sure.
Danny, we're coming.
We're all coming to Gettysburg. But I also wanted visit Savannah, Georgia. I used to live in Savannah, Georgia. And I think I told you, about my story, how I had, as a teenager, before I knew anything about spirits or anything like that, as a teenager, I remember it specifically, I was in 9th grade. I had what I can only explain as an out-of-body experience for a week. It was a whole week. I felt like I was watching myself in the third person for an entire week. And that's before I knew anything about spirits, but specifically anything about Savannah being one of the most haunted cities in all of America. So I want to go actually investigate Savannah, Georgia.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. There's a lot going on there. All right, Rocker.
For me, still definitely on my bucket list, one of the tops still has to be Waverly Hills for me. Big time. I would love to go there at least once to investigate that place.
I'm going to bring you with me next year then.
Yeah, beyond, I would love to go. I would start packing months ahead of time, just so I know I have everything.
We're going to start packing now.
Buy more equipment. Right. Beyond that, I would say I would really love to investigate Salem. Salem, Massachusetts would be a huge spot for me. I would love to go to. And also Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow would be another one I would love to actually check out.
That would totally be
Actually, my dad actually had a college buddy when he was back in high school that actually came from Sleepy Hollow. He lived at Sleepy Hollow. Him and his parents actually lived right next to Sleepy Hollow.
That's cool.
So,
I hadn't thought about Sleepy
So
Hollow.
I got to hear stories, kind of growing up from that too, and reading the book after that, then seeing the movies, and it's like some of the adaptations a little different, but I would love to just check it
Still
out.
want to go.
And I would be definitely daring to go into those woods, even if I have to go by myself. I'll go into the woods.
Make sure you do your protection before you go in and when you come out.
Right.
For sure. All right, Danny.
Well, y'all coming to me, I'm gonna have to start moving again. So, I would say Gettysburg, but I've been there, done that. I honestly want to do Alcatraz and the Alaskan Hotel. The Alaskan Hotel also, I would probably be up there for months, just because of the Native American cryptics. There's a lot in that triangle, a lot, and in Dead Center is the Alaskan Hotel, and that's honestly, one of my the first
About
ones.
the Alaskan Triangle on one of my shows. So yeah, like you would have to be there for a while. And I know you like you have this new love of cryptids. You would be there forever.
There was a cryptic geologist up there right now, and he's been up there for about 3 years, and he still hasn't even tore into the top layer of what he wants to do.
Oh wow. Yeah, that would be
Nice for
good.
that.
Mikey's back in just enough time. All right, Mikey. What would be your number one spot that you'd want to go to?
Waverly Hills.
Yes. We're all in agreement.
Aren't you
Been dying to go
going?
there. What's that?
Aren't you going this month?
Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah. We're gonna get a group together to go next year. So it's a group. I get to have a group of 10. We're just trying to figure everything out between work schedules and vacation. So I'll keep you guys posted on that because definitely I think it'd be cool for all of us to meet up and
Yes.
go do all that with all of our tools. That would be fun. It'd be so much fun. Anywhere else, Mikey? Anywhere else that you want?
Missouri State Penitentiary is another good one.
Nice. Okay. Anything else? Anything overseas?
What's the name of that? Can't think of the name right offhand. I can't think of the name, but I'll think of it. Sorry.
You'll have to tell me. You'll have to tell me. All right. So let's go into kind of a fun question here.
I just wanted to say one thing. As I was talking about my shadow man, it shut my phone off.
I noticed when you
Oh,
popped out, I was
really?
like, here we
I
go.
was thinking something was happening because it froze and then it just
Sure did.
went black.
Last time Mikey was on my show and he was my guest, it shut my whole stream down. So let's just hope
And
it's
I got
good.
super lightheaded too as that happened.
Be careful, man. Be careful.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be because we're doing the show. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's a good question. How do you guys handle skeptics? Like, especially the ones that think it's fake. Like, we see people coming in my comments all the time talking about this is fake, blah, 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 blah. I think, you know what, it's healthy to have some skepticism, right? But I think everybody needs to come in with an open mind. We're here, I approach everything from a scientific aspect. Like, I want the data, like, show me the data, show me the science, right? I want to be able to debunk stuff, but I want people to also be thinking. Like, I've got a friend of mine right now on Facebook that keeps posting a ghost that's in his garage, and you guys, like, I am just chomping at the bit to post a picture of dust and be like, dude, it's dust. He's like, it's not a bug. I know it's not. No, it's not a bug. It's dust. And I could give you all sorts of stuff to prove that it's dust, but people still will be like, oh no, it's a ghost. So you know what? You believe what you want to believe in your house. So I just kind of leave people where they are, like, if that's what you want to believe. So kind of, how do you guys handle it when, you know, somebody comes to you and they're like, oh, you believe in ghosts? Oh, you ghost hunt? Oh, that's so fake. Cosmo. Are you muted?
I can't hear him.
Yeah, it sounds like his audio
His
is
mic
out
again.
there.
We know it's your mic. Like, he's like, I know.
What the hell?
There we go.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I don't know what my dogs have been messing with me. Anyways, do I sound all right?
Yeah, you sound fine.
Okay, good. Okay, so, how do I handle skeptics? Okay. I was trying to remember the question. So we all started out as skeptics, okay? And I go in with that mindset. We all start out as skeptics. The number one thing I will tell any skeptic, I had a good friend of mine that is a skeptic, but he's still scared. I'm like, you're not truly a skeptic if you're scared, okay? I have two friends of mine. One friend will not watch, there's a movie that came out a long time ago. It's a kind of a hidden gem. Called Frequency, I think it was called. It was about a dude that was communicating with ghosts through ham radio. In any case, I say one very powerful thing. Go on a ghost hunt. If you're a skeptic, go on a ghost hunt, okay? And not to prove yourself right or wrong, but just to see what you feel. You know what I mean?
Have experience.
And because you really don't. It's not like when people talk about magic and manifestation and spirituality, and you don't have to be in really any kind of mindset, honestly. If something wants to make themselves apparent to you, they will. They will. And you won't be able to deny it. So the friend of mine that was a skeptic, we went on ghost hunts and things like that. And he will always say kind of flippantly, oh, this house is haunted. We genuinely believe the house we used to live in, that we lived in for years, was haunted. And we did like little investigations. Nothing really popped off, but there was always that uneasy feeling. And the number one evidence capturer that you can get is yourself, is your body. How does your body react? How does your mentality react? How does your gut react? For me, I always get a nauseous feeling. Yeah. That's how I know in the presence of it.
Yep. I do too. All right, Rocker, how do you handle the skeptics?
I would say from an early age, and when I was growing up in a haunted apartment, and going through school and telling friends and teachers about the experiences I was having even then, when they wouldn't believe me, saying, oh, you're making excuses of how much sleep you didn't get, or not doing homework, or missing out on classes. I'm like, if you're actually not going to believe me that much, you can come over to the apartment, you can spend the night, and you can experience this for yourself firsthand. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then at a later age, when skeptics will come up to me for that, I'd be like, okay, well, come out with me on a ghost hunt. Come to one of these graveyards and experience this for yourself firsthand. See for yourself on this. And if you're still freaked out or scared and you need to leave, you're in an open area. You have free range to leave whenever you want. And yeah, I definitely agree with Cosmo on when I'm going into the areas. Yeah, I'm sensitive to that stuff. So for me, it's like your hair starts standing up on the back of your neck. You get goosebumps on your arm, feel the temperature change in the room, the energy shift in the room. That's when you definitely know something's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a knock, a voice. The best piece of equipment. Oh yeah, you'll feel it, 100%. Mm-hmm. No Absolutely. Deniability for that. So
I'm glad okay. So three of us. Danny?
I am the worst one to come to me and say you're a skeptic, and because I don't lock you in cemeteries. I'll lock you in I have taken people to Penhorse, locked them in the asylum. I've locked people in Eastern State before upon request. I will take a skeptic, and I will you probably might need a padded room when you're done, depending on how bad some of my friends are at that night. I haven't really met a full true skeptic, because I do come from one of the most haunted towns in America. Mostly everyone in Gettysburg believes in something, in a spirit, in a cryptid, something of that nature. There's a couple that just didn't believe in my lifetime, and I just kind of locked them away and just been like, okay, have fun.
Here, let me put a camera on you and you can share your experience with everybody later.
Mhm.
What I'm doing.
All right, Mikey, how do you handle the skeptics?
Well, I look at it this way. If somebody doesn't believe, you can't make them believe. You can't force somebody to do something.
Right.
So, I mean, if they're gonna believe, they're gonna believe, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Me, I'm a firm believer, 100%, so I'm not gonna try to make somebody believe if they don't want to, you know?
I'd rather be one of the crazy ones that believes than one of the sane ones that's normal.
Absolutely.
That's just me. But once you've had an experience on your own, like you'll never not believe. You know what I
There's no
mean?
going back.
Right.
Like once
Yeah.
you've had the experience, there's no going back. That's just all there is to it. You're going to be curious. I liken it to, like, I'm a huge fan of Ghost Adventures. I liken it in as to the dude that makes all their equipment, because he always says he's a skeptic. I can't remember his name, but
Is it Billy?
Billy.
not Billy.
Not Billy.
Oh no. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. His name is Billy. His name is
Billy?
Billy something. Yeah, or Bill Chappell. That's his name. Bill Chappell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Chapel.
Okay.
Yep.
Make
Yeah.
all the
I know what you're
equipment.
talking about.
And he makes the equipment, yes. And
Yeah.
and you've heard him several times, even though he's been doing it just as long as they've been doing it, 10 years. He's still a skeptic. He doesn't know. He's like the agnostic of the spiritual world. You know what I mean? He doesn't know, but he certainly will admit when something's unexplained. You know what I mean?
Which that's all you can ask for at the end of the day, right? Like,
Absolutely.
gotta have that acknowledgement. All right, so we got 15 minutes left in the show. Let me get to, where is my show break here? All right, so it's gonna be our last one, you guys. So you are watching Into the Unknown. We stream here live every Sunday night at 11 p.m. Eastern on the Meet Me app. This is our big paranormal investigators roundtable. And you guys, we didn't get through all the questions that we wanted to go through. So I don't know, we may have to do this again.
I just wanted to apologize for my phone shutting down.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. You guys make sure you're favoriting everybody in the box. All right. So I'm going to jump to one more question here. We'll probably still have another one after this one, but I have to ask this question. It's on the list. So, and Danny's going to love this question because he's been tying some of this stuff together, and I've been going down this rabbit hole lately. Do you think that there's a connection between hauntings, cryptids, UFO phenomena, like all of that? Or do you think they're separate worlds? And for me, like, y'all hear me every week talk about Skinwalker Ranch, right? I love it because it mixes all of these different areas, right? And so they're scientifically trying to prove all this stuff. Like right now they're looking at UFOs and they're doing all the documentation of that, right? Like all this high-tech technology coming out. Now we're talking about the possible dire wolf that could be there. So now we're talking about a cryptid. They've talked about Bigfoot being out there. They've talked about portals. So I do believe on some level, all of these areas are connected. What do you guys think about it? Cosmo?
Yeah, I think there's been investigations about, especially when it comes to like interplanetary life, aliens and things like that, And I would imagine, like, I'm really writing a script. I'm writing a fantasy I'm writing a fantasy story, and this is how I believe, because that's where it comes from. It comes from my belief that we all come from one, right? Everything else, everything in the entire universe, multiverse, mythical, thank you, from everything comes from one. So that's why everything is so similar. So if there are aliens and things of that nature, then why wouldn't they have spirits? Why wouldn't they have spirits? Why wouldn't they have that kind of energy? You know what I mean? Cryptids and all that stuff. It comes from somewhere. It's something that it's unexplainable. And yes, I do believe, especially when we talk about skinwalkers, there was another thing that they were talking about that's sort of like that. And I remember hearing just recently about the dire wolf coming back,
Yeah.
Even animals, like just our regular run-of-the-mill animals, there is a theory that says each and every animal comes from its own planet. There's a theory out there, and I want to look more into it, but each and every animal comes here from its own planet, and they just kind of habitate here. And this is why some animals were worshipped. This is why some animals were, revered and venerated, because they all come from different planets. We don't know what they are. It's a unique take. What I love about what we do and what we experience is it begs the question, and it keeps us thinking about the question.
Yeah.
It keeps us thinking about what is it? What is it? I love to question everything. I consume knowledge like there's no other. So it has
It's
to
the only
be
way we're
connected.
going to learn, right? Like questioning and going down all these rabbit holes. If you're not going down a rabbit hole as a paranormal investigator, there's something wrong with you because you need to be going down
Right.
those holes.
Right.
Go down every rabbit hole.
Exactly. All right, Rocker.
Yeah, I definitely will pick up on what you're saying for that, Cosmo, because I do believe that too. For especially like how you're saying, certain religions and certain ancient civilizations that were worshiping, like Egyptians worshiping cats, and believing like part of the dogs being guardians of the underworld part of the time, and then other times cats were guardians of the underworld, back and forth. And with cryptics, I believe that's like part of the multiverse, part of like the parallel universes. Everything, even from Bigfoot, from direwolves and stuff, like how are they still around now? Where did they go to survive during like Ice Age times and prehistoric times? Went underground, went into their own environment, went back to even just a planet like they said they came from, habitated there, came back now. Same with like shadow figures. There's a lot of theories on shadow figures. Are they spirits? Are they interdimensional beings? We don't know for sure yet, but it's a very interesting topic to dive into to get more of that research on what exactly are they? Are we ever going to get this answer? But I love diving into that stuff, going down those rabbit holes of like, what are these theories on what this is and where they come from? Why are they here? So
It's a fun rabbit hole to go down once you start tying them all together, right?
yes.
It's very fun. All right, Danny.
But now looking more into the Alaskan Circle and talking to some people up that way. I have a bunch of family up that way that's been helping me get stuff together. It's kind of like we kind of have to not keep them separated, because I do feel like up in Alaska that they do have the Alaskan Hotel is kind of, as they say, in the center of all of this that's going on around them, from the cryptics that the Native American reserves that are being spotted, all the way down over to in the ocean, where there has been recent sightings as of last year of what could be a possible Loch Ness monster in that ocean.
Yep.
And all the way to the top to where they have UFO sightings. So it's kind of like in the center is this just haunted hotel. You can't not sit there and say, oh, they're separate, because they're kind of all together into one. And just so happens that this hotel is in the center of this triangle. There's something else going on. There's something else going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. All right, Mikey, what do you think?
This might be weird, but I kind of always been intrigued by the skinwalkers. I've always wanted to see a skinwalker. I don't know why, but I have. And UFOs. I believe in UFOs as well.
So do you think they're all tied together?
Possibly.
Everybody talks about, Bigfoot may have a portal. That's why we never have any tracks after somebody has seen him, and that, the aliens bring him here. Like, there's so much that has been whipped together between all the different fields. Like, you guys, what we study, like, we have to be open-minded about all of it, right? And we have to do the research and look at it. So I don't know. Like, when I started doing this show, I was only into ghosts, right? Like, I didn't know much about it. It wasn't my forte with NPS, right? And I started looking more into the aliens, and we started getting Arrow, and then I started looking more into the cryptids, and it's like, the more I started studying, it's like Danny said, the Alaskan Triangle has so much around it. The Bermuda Triangle has so much around it. Like, there's all these different locations. You've got Skinwalker Ranch in Utah, which has everything on it. And I'm sure that there's more if we started really looking at it, right? So it makes you wonder, is there something unique to some places? You know, people talk about ley lines and that type of thing. Is there something unique that's attracting all of this? And I have a feeling with our technology coming up that pretty soon we're going to start learning a lot more.
Has anyone ever seen a skinwalker?
I have not.
Me
I've
either.
heard one. I've never seen one.
You heard one?
I
Wow.
heard one actually when I was in Missouri at my great grandma's, and my great grandma that passed away back in 2012 actually was talking about it. Where she never really knew for sure if it was between like a Bigfoot family that was out in the wooded area behind her house, or if it was skinwalkers. But it was a very distinct sound, and I heard it. I still will never forget this as a kid. Heard like this kind of a mix of a growl and a screech. You know,
Wow. What
and
part of
it
Missouri?
never
'Cause
came, and it didn't sound anything like a coyote, a deer, pheasant, nothing like that. This was something I still can't explain till this day. But she swore up and down, "This is a skinwalker. They're around this field. They're walking through the trees. Just stay away from the fence line. You'll be all right."
What part of Missouri?
Kind of creeped out by that, but like,
Yeah.
it was around. If I remember Kirksville. Yeah,
Oh.
Kirksville area.
Is that close to the
Yeah.
Ozarks? I think it's close to the Ozarks.
That's
Yes.
similar to those right there. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
about like another 4 hours. 4 hour distance. between there. So
Oof.
And I feel like
Okay,
there could be skinwalkers up in Alaska, but it's 80% still unknown up there. So I feel like more things could actually be surfacing up there in the next 10, 15 years from now when more people go up there and settle.
Yep. It'll start stirring more stuff up, right? Like activity always does. All right. We got 5 minutes left. Let's do one last question because I love this question for you guys. And then we're going to wrap up. And then we might do an after show for like 15, 20 minutes, but I can't stay up late. I'm just telling you guys now. Okay. So if you could give one piece of advice to a brand new investigator who wants to try this for the first time, what would it be?
All right, are you gonna answer first?
I'm trying to think what mine would be. I think for me, it's kind of check your ego out the door. You know, everybody's got their own way to investigate. Everybody has their own equipment that they like to investigate with. Like, none of us really know anything more than the other, right? We have more experience maybe than these newbies so that we can kind of guide them along. But I think you need to just kind of humble yourself and listen to the more seasoned investigator when you're out, because one of the things that we've already said in here is protect yourself before, cleanse yourself after. Cosmo?
I'd agree. My thing, and this is with anything, someone mentioned the occult, someone mentioned about technology, everything that you do, and this is good advice for life, set your intention. And make sure you have clear focus. Make sure you have clear focus. You do need to protect yourself, bring the right equipment, definitely check your ego. Definitely check your ego. I'm working with a girl right now that she's pagan, and I get the sense that she's like, if you don't do it my way, you're not doing it the right way. It's just like saying that in like points of life. Everybody's different. Everybody has different ways of accomplishing something. You have to remember that this is not just a hobby for a lot of people. This is a lifestyle. So it doesn't just mean that you're doing it right or wrong. It means that you're doing it your way. That goes with anything. That goes with rituals. That goes with magic work. It goes with anything that you do in your life. Anything. You can say, I like to make an egg. Okay? And someone says, well, if you don't make a fried egg, you're making it wrong. Well, I like my eggs scrambled. Okay?
yeah.
Make a good point on that too, right? Because we do have different beliefs. And for those of us that work with clients, like, you know, I work with clients, I've got to find out what my clients' beliefs are, right? Because my beliefs may not work. So that's, again, check your ego at the door, because you're going to learn from seasoned investigators what to do and what not to do. All right, Rocker.
I can kind of touch on that and add to it. Also, like when you're going to a client's place, or if you even bring certain people along on an investigation with you, even from like a religious standpoint and background, what do they believe for that side too, and having their own thoughts and beliefs on how they'll go about it definitely can differ how the investigation will actually go, how they'll want to cleanse themselves, protect themselves. But also, I definitely will say, like, keep an open mind about it. Keep an open mind about what your experience will be, what you can debunk, what you'll experience along the way, but also, don't get too serious about it at first when you're first starting out. Don't try to run before you start walking. That's basically what I'll say to that. Like, start out small, work your way up, do your research, find out as much information as you can along the way, but like, don't take on too much too soon.
Right,
I would probably honestly give them like some recommendations on like spirit boxes and like the thermo camera I use, stuff like equipment that I know how to use, and take them and show them how to use it. And possibly just, I agree with both of you, of all three of you, just check the ego at the door. A lot of clients I've dealt with in the past, especially when it came to like people missing or people died. It's very different doing a Jewish thing versus Christian, and Christian versus Muslim. So I always, that's one of the first things out of my mouth, and just always, and tell them that too. First thing out of your mouth needs to be kind of, what is your religion around the spaces, and that way they know that all of the religions matter when it comes to this kind of thing.
Absolutely. Mikey?
I would have to say, if it was your first time, never investigate alone. Have somebody that knows kind of what they're doing somewhat go with you.
Absolutely. Because that's going to help guide you, right? Like, you never want to go alone because you never know what's going to happen, right?
Right.
And you want to make sure you've got somebody kind of showing you the ropes of what to do. And very first thing they're going to teach you is protect yourself before you go out there.
I do go alone. I go alone all the time doing it. It's not safe, but I shouldn't, but I still do.
You need like a little life alert button to let your other paranormal buddies know what's going on if something happens. But all right, we're definitely gonna have to do this again for sure. This was fun. Thank you guys so much for popping up and talking about it for a while. So this was a ton of fun. You guys, in the comments, make sure you're favoriting everybody, because we're probably gonna do this again. Like, I love doing this kind of stuff and getting everybody's opinion, and it kind of, for me, makes everything okay, right? Everybody thinks it's so taboo getting into the paranormal. It's not that taboo, you guys. Like, when the government sets up an agency to talk about UFOs, it's no longer taboo, right? It's no longer taboo. For sure. All right, you guys, do y'all have anything else you want to say before we pop out of the box and we close down the show? Anything you guys got going on that you want to shout out about?
I honestly, I'm kind of going through life changes right now, so I don't stream on the regular, but when you catch me, that's why it's important to fave me. When you catch me, I'm usually playing something fun, but we'll have fun in my streams.
Nice. Walker, anything, last words?
I don't really actually stream that often. If I do, most of the time it's just singing. Otherwise, you'll catch me here every Sunday, whether I'm on the show or not, in the comments, hanging out. Or just random streams talking to friends. But definitely support the show, Into the Unknown, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Awesome. Thank you, Rocker. All right, Janie, anything left for you?
On 7/25, I have an auction for suicide awareness and substance abuse. And then next Sunday, I start my show at 8 8 p.m. Eastern, Beyond the Checklist, getting motivated, organizing. We'll talk about kind of how to keep kind of things cleaned up a little bit. And if you have any projects you want to do or anything from even going through your email, checking anything out, please come by and we'll have music going. Class Swim is also my co-host for that, as well as running the auction on 725. And then afterwards, we'll probably all just end up piling in here anyway, around 11. Okay? Because I don't do anything on Sundays but this show, and it's the only day I typically take off. So.
Oh, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the support. All right, Mikey, do you have
I
anything?
want to say thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it. Appreciate meeting you guys and everything. And I wanted to say thank you to all my friends for coming and supporting me as well. Love y'all.
You guys, I don't know how I would do the show without y'all. Like when I first started, I didn't have a whole lot of people that they like believed in the paranormal, but they weren't active in the paranormal. So y'all have been a huge support circle for me as well. So I really appreciate you guys being in the show every Sunday, coming on the show, being a guest, talking with me. We're after the featured hour, so we can talk our shit. I made it for an hour, you guys. Freestyle. I made it for an hour. Yay.
Hey, y'all for featured.
I am off a feature. All right, let's wrap up the show. Let me get my closing going. And then if you guys want to pop in for the after show, well, like I said, I can't stay up late because I got to be up early. We got executive board meeting this week. But I can do a little bit for a little while because I see some things going on in the comments I want to address. So let me pop you guys out of the box. If you guys don't want to pop out on your own, we're going to do the end here. Let me get my main camera up here so we can finish up. Mikey, let me get you popped out. All right. You guys, thanks for being here. Next week, there is no show. I'm going to be handling spirits of a different type with bartending a wedding. So I will not be here next Sunday, but I will be here the following Sunday on the 20th. And I am hoping to talk conspiracy theories with Top Badge Catch. So if you guys are into conspiracy theories, it's going to be the show to be here and hang out for. So let's get this wrapped up, you guys. And yeah, let's go into the after show. So give me just 1 second here. And I'll see you on the flip side of the close.
Thank you for daring to come into the unknown with me tonight. I really appreciate your gifts, but what means the most to me is your being here and showing your support. If you would like to be on the show, send me a message on IG. The link is in my bio. Please stay for the after show segment as I spend the next 30 minutes continuing to talk about what we covered in the show and answering any questions you may have regarding the paranormal field. I hope to see you all again next Sunday at 11 p.m. Eastern, where we will go back into the unknown. Have a great night and enjoy your week.
You know what I hate about doing these kind of shows is you have so much that you want to cover and you think an hour is a lot of time, but it's really not by the time it's all said and done. It's really not. So I hate that we didn't get to answer some of the other questions, but you know, that's what the after show is for. So now we can really sit here and talk about it.